What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Walk Escape skilling video. Now, if you've followed the channel for a little bit, you know that I like to catalog the decline of various skills from greatness. Things like adding in AFK training methods, more mini gamification of skilling, and enabling more socialization. These things have been very detrimental to a number of skills, and I've been covering that in a few different videos. Today, I wanted to address something similar but slightly different and talk about a skill that, frankly, Jagex never got right to begin with. They've been making some updates trying to refine it, but they have really just never hit the nail on the head. And you know, of course, that I'm speaking of Slayer, the universal, most despised skill in this game. I mean, just take a look at this poll that was recently run by Jagex. This is an official one. Clearly, the data is speaking for itself right here. So I wanted to take this issue head on, run through some of the issues that exist with the Slayer skill, but of course, I'm also here to fix it. I'm not just a ranter, so I've got a number of ideas how we can refine this thing and make it something more on the level of 2005 rune crafting or mining. So first things first, just for the uninitiated, the basic gameplay loop of training Slayer goes like this. You go to a Slayer master, there's a number in the game, they'll give you an assignment to kill X monster X amount of times. You go and do that, report back. Now, a lot of these could be boss variants of the monster, so if you get greater demons, you could go to Zamorak God Wars dungeon and kill that instead. And a lot of these monsters are unique to Slayer and require special equipment for you to take down, so you'll need to think about your gear as well. Now, you can see already we've produced like 4 different decision points, which is far too much for my smooth brain. Now, here's how we cut down on these. Number 1, which Slayer Master do I use? This could just be assigned when you complete your prior task, so report back to Turiel or whoever for your next assignment. All Slayer Masters would be equally weighted, of course, regardless of your combat level. I think that's an obvious and easy improvement to make. Number 2, which gear do I use? We've got a bit of a solution for this already with the Slayer Helmet, but it's frankly just far too powerful of an item in this game. It protects from every Slayer monster's offensive thing and gives you a buff to attack and strength. Now, for something so OP, this should really be a debuff, so I think this should be revised to be negative 15% attack and strength. Then it's actually fair and fits in the niche where it should be. And then you also choose if you want to take on the boss or the regular variant. Now, I don't know who got this idea at Jagex, but bossing is bossing, Slayer is Slayer. Slayer's a skill. Shouldn't be allowed to kill bosses for Slayer. That easy. Final note, tasks are just way too short. They're usually like 1 to 200. Takes maybe an hour to 3 hours depending on what you're killing. That's ridiculous. This is RuneScape. That's a joke amount of time. I should be somewhere for 1 to 3 weeks before I change scenery. So let's up the tasks by about 50-fold. I want to be taking out, 7,000 black demons, not 132. What is this? All right, so now that we've covered the basics of getting tasks and gearing up and how to improve that system, let's move on to the logistics of actually tackling your Slayer assignment. So right now I've got 153 worms that I need to kill, and so obviously I'm in the Caraloom Slayer dungeon. Now there's another player down here who's on the same task, and I would love to fight with this guy for the kills and be able to be angry with him and kind of spew toxic hatred in the public chat. But unfortunately, the glaring issue is there's just too many worms. We are able to peacefully coexist. There's got to be at least a dozen of these things, maybe even a baker's dozen. I don't know. Can't count that high. Point is, I can just run way over here, not even bother interacting with him. It really takes away the spirit of competition. That kind of vibe that used to exist in the mining guild for fighting other players for myth rocks. That's what I'm looking for here. Now, I see 2 ways to solve this problem rather easily. First option, just 1 spawn of every creature in every area that you can kill it. That way, you're always on edge. You get to make fun of the other guy if you get the kill. Perfect. Option 2, dedicated worlds. Actually, better yet, just 1 world. 1 single world where you're allowed to get Slayer XP. Every other world, Slayer skill is disabled. This brings everyone together, and it would create that same kind of spirit of competition. So this one's a pretty easy fix. I think we could get this implemented by next Thursday's update, honestly. You also, of course, can't talk about Slayer without talking about superior creatures. These are just upgraded versions of whatever monster you're slaying that have a small chance of dropping something super valuable, and they've often got slightly changed mechanics. So when you see one, you kind of need to be on your toes and change up your style of fighting. Pretty stupid. Now, I think a better way of handling things like the imbued heart would be take away superiors and just every time you kill a normal Slayer monster on task, you have a 1 in 10,000 chance of hitting the imbued heart table. But of course, you have to hit this table 10 times, and each time you do, just an invisible indicator will tick up until ultimately you finally get the heart. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do that. Now, the next major issue that we've got to address here is NPC aggression. As you can see, get the fuck out of here, Miles. As you can see, I've got a Dark Beast task right now, and all I have to do is wander into this room, throw up my Protect from melee, and just wait for like 15 minutes with almost no engagement with my client. Obviously not how it was intended, but again, there's a very simple fix to this one, and that's just removing monster aggression everywhere in the game. I should be the one who has to strike first, keep me clicking, keep me over there. That's how it should be done. Easy. In a similar vein to monster aggression, we can't talk about Slayer without addressing the dwarf multi-cannon. Now let's assume I've got a cow fight task. I don't, because I'm not going to go get 20 tasks for this video till I end up with one. All I have to do is throw up my cannon, hit fire, and it starts rotating, grabbing basically every monster in the vicinity, allowing me to, again, AFK, plus pick up some free DPS. This is one of the most OP things in the game, and is absolutely awful for the integrity of RuneScape. However, I do have a fix, and I don't propose removing the cannon. I think that would be too far, but what we can do is stop the cannon from rotating, and instead have it in a static position. Now your character would then man the cannon from directly behind, and could fire one shot at any NPC that wandered directly in front of the cannon's firing range. Then you gotta wait till the NPC wanders again. It basically puts it more on the level with a crossbow. Personally, I think it's a great idea. Now you also have the issue that cannon ammo is far too easy to generate and come by. This is because the cannon mold allows you to make 4 cannonballs from a single steel bar. Not to mention we got that double cannon mold a while ago, even further increasing output. It's awful. What we need to do is take those cannon molds and just do 1 cannonball per steel bar. That'll slow the output, make it a little tougher to get the ammunition for this beast. And I'm sure people might be a little upset about that, but what we could do is just every cannonball mold you have, we'll just give you 4 of the single molds. And then that way, that should appease everyone. I don't see how people could be upset at that rate because you basically have the same item at that point. Now, this is a bit smaller of a complaint, but something that I did want to address. The Skillcape Emote, it lasts about 3 seconds. And for a grind that takes, 300 to 500 hours, that's too much of a payout. It's about 100 hours per 1 second of emote if you want to do the quick math on it. Now, we're supposed to be good at killing things by the point we're a 99 Slayer. This thing should really last about half a second. We should take that thing out instantly. Please shorten the emote. Too long. 0 out of 10. The last thing that I need to address here is the reward system for Slayer. On top of having some of the most overpowered drops in the game, which I would frankly like to rework things like the whip and the trident to just be worse and fit better in their niche. But beyond that, when you complete tasks, you get points, and we've got this whole system where you can unlock new tasks, recolor your Slayer helmet in like 10 different ways. It's just that overwhelming number of options again that we really need to get rid of. Use more head. That one can stay. But for the most part, these things need to get cut. You can also extend the number of kills you have for every task, buy overpowered items like broad arrows, and then block or cancel certain tasks. The whole system is just too clunky, offers far too much optionality, and frankly, I think we just need to do away with the reward system entirely. It's probably the only answer we have here. Now, you may just think I'm a pessimist here and I have nothing positive to say about Slayer whatsoever, but that's actually not true. A while back, we had this great introduction of the Slayer partner system back in 2015, so you can actually do it with your friend. That brings back the social aspect, kind of like what I've been talking about. And my favorite part about this system is that it's been temporarily disabled for about 3 years. Hopefully they keep that up. And the only way I could see to improve this is maybe instead of just one partner, you could have anywhere from like 1 through 10, and then you could have 9 more options here. Partner with 1 person, partner with 2, 3, 4, and so on, all of which would then generate the same temporarily unavailable message forever. Probably my favorite feature of Slayer, if I'm being totally honest. That's going to do it for this week's video. I appreciate you watching. As always, if you did enjoy it, go ahead and leave a like. If you didn't understand the joke and the satire, go ahead and leave a dislike. There's usually 5 to 10% of you guys. That's cool too. I get that. It's tough. Thanks also to my live stream chat for giving me the idea for this video. Thought it was a pretty good one, so appreciate that. If you're interested in live content, I do try and live stream a couple times a week. I actually play the game normally, surprisingly enough, and I'm relatively decent, not that great. So if you want to drop in and say hey, please do. Just got a new microphone, so I hope that one sounded a little better in this video as well. Also, courtesy of the live stream chat. So thanks again to you guys. Other than that, I appreciate you watching the video, supporting those as always, and I'll see you in the next one.